these 2 hours, the presenters on every news channel were saying injured but expected to make a full recovery, and I have no idea why, but it made me so angry.
Lady Jane Fellows, Diana's older sister, was always a figure who operated in the background, keeping her life private despite the public nature of her family's involvement with the royal family. Unlike her more outspoken siblings, Lady Jane shied away from the media spotlight and public attention, allowing her sister's fame to shine without vying for the same recognition. However, her quiet strength and influence within the Spencer family became especially apparent during the most turbulent times, when her support proved invaluable to Diana and her sons. Jane's life was deeply rooted in family loyalty and tradition, and she spent much of her time at the Spencer family estate, Althorpe, which had been passed down through generations. She was known for her discretion, a trait that often kept her out of the limelight, but it also made her a stabilizing force within the family. As the family navigated Diana's rising public profile and later, the complexities surrounding her marriage to Prince Charles, Lady Jane played a crucial yet understated role. She was a quiet confidante, often offering counsel to Diana during moments of distress, and was present during family discussions that influenced the trajectory of Diana's life and public image. When tragedy struck in 1997 with Diana's untimely death, Lady Jane's strength came to the forefront. Amidst the global grief and media frenzy, she traveled to Paris with her sister Lady Sarah McCorquodale to bring Diana's body home, displaying immense composure during what was an incredibly emotionally charged time. The public, watching from afar, saw a poised and dignified figure at the funeral, where Jane delivered a heartfelt reading. It was this quiet grace that underscored the deep bond she shared with her late sister, providing solace in a moment of unimaginable sorrow. Though she remained largely in the background, Lady Jane's influence extended to her relationship with her nephews, Prince William and Prince Harry. Over the years, her role became more significant as she provided support to the boys during their formative years, offering a sense of stability and understanding in the midst of their personal and public grief. Jane's quiet presence was an anchor for the young princes, and her family ties to Diana only deepened her involvement in their lives. Lady Jane's actions often went unnoticed, but her unwavering support proved essential in navigating the complicated dynamics of the royal family and public life. Throughout the years, Lady Jane's ability to remain unassuming yet impactful allowed her to maintain strong family bonds. She was often seen at key events in the royal calendar, where her loyalty to her family remained evident, despite the attention her late sister's legacy continued to garner. Her presence at family gatherings was a reminder of the stability that came from within the Spencer family, contrasting sharply with the more public and often tumultuous life of Diana. In recent years, as new revelations and narratives about Diana's life and legacy continue to emerge, Lady Jane's role in the royal family's private life has taken on a new light. As the monarchy faces increasing challenges, including family rifts and generational divides, Lady Jane's quiet, steady approach to life provides an alternative vision of the royal family, one grounded in loyalty, tradition, and private support. Her influence, often understated, continues to be felt within the Spencer family, offering a contrast to the more public and dramatic narratives that have defined the royal family in recent decades. Lady Jane Fellows may not have sought attention or fame, but her influence within the royal family, particularly in relation to Diana and her sons, has proven to be significant. She embodies the quieter, often unseen side of royal life, one that values loyalty and family over public recognition. As time moves forward, her role in maintaining the Spencer family's legacy and supporting the monarchy in its evolving challenges will remain a testament to her quiet yet profound impact. The Spencer family's grief after Princess Diana's tragic death in 1997 was an experience marked by profound sorrow and intense media scrutiny. While Diana's death shocked the entire world, the impact on her family was immeasurable, with each member of the Spencer family facing their own emotional turmoil in the wake of the loss. As the world mourned the Princess of Wales, the Spencer family was forced to confront their grief in the public eye, a burden that only amplified the pain they were already feeling. Diana's siblings, particularly her two sisters, Lady Sarah McCorquodale and Lady Jane Fellows, felt the loss deeply. They had witnessed their sister's rise to global fame, her tumultuous marriage to Prince Charles, and the personal struggles she endured in a world that often seemed unsympathetic to her pain. As her death became a global event, the Spencer family was thrust into the spotlight, navigating a delicate balance between their private grief and the media's insatiable hunger for information. The confusion and chaotic nature of the news surrounding Diana's death only deepened the family's anguish, as contradictory reports and mixed messages fueled public speculation. They were left reeling not only from the loss of their beloved sister but also from the disturbing realities of how her passing was handled by the media and the royal family. Lady Sarah, as the eldest sister, took on a central role in the family during this difficult time. She was thrust into the position of a spokeswoman, offering strength and dignity to the public as she navigated her own grief. Her calm and composed demeanor during interviews and at the funeral highlighted the depth of her personal sorrow, while maintaining the stoicism expected of her as a member of the royal family. However, behind the scenes, the emotional weight of losing her sister was crushing. The Spencer family was deeply affected by the tragic circumstances of Diana's death, and the chaos surrounding the event left many of them struggling to find clarity. Lady Sarah, along with her siblings, was forced to contend not only with their own grief but also with the overwhelming attention of the world. Lady Jane Fellows, who had long stayed out of the public eye, found herself in a similarly challenging position. As Diana's closest confidante in the royal family, Jane's grief was deeply personal. The public saw her as a figure of strength, particularly during the funeral, where she gave a heartfelt reading that touched millions. Yet behind her composed exterior, Jane was grappling with the loss of her younger sister and the emotional strain of handling the media circus surrounding the family. Her decision to step into the public eye was not one she sought, but rather an obligation that came with being part of the Spencer family. Jane's role during the mourning period underscored her importance as a stabilizing presence within the family, though it came at a tremendous personal cost. The grief of Diana's death also had a significant impact on her children, Prince William and Prince Harry. While the world witnessed their raw emotions during the funeral procession, the two young princes were forced to carry the weight of their loss with a poise beyond their years. The Spencer family, particularly Diana's sisters, played a crucial role in providing support and stability for William and Harry, offering a sense of normalcy during a time when their world had been turned upside down. Diana's siblings worked to shield the boys from the public's overwhelming attention, trying to give them space to process their grief while also ensuring they were protected from the media's relentless pursuit. In the weeks and months following Diana's death, the Spencer family's grief was compounded by the continuing media frenzy. As the details of Diana's life, marriage, and death were examined from every angle, the Spencer family was often forced to relive the pain of their loss. The lack of privacy, combined with the overwhelming public curiosity, created a sense of isolation for the family. Their grief was no longer a private matter, but something that was shared with the world, a burden that many of them found difficult to bear. The family's grief was not only personal but also tied to the ongoing questions and speculations surrounding the circumstances of Diana's death. While the official investigation into the crash in Paris ruled that the deaths were a result of reckless driving and paparazzi interference, conspiracy theories continued to circulate. These theories, fueled by the contradictory media reports and the public's desire for answers, only added to the family's distress. For the Spencers, the tragic death of their beloved sister and daughter was never truly resolved, and the lingering questions about the crash left them with a sense of uncertainty and frustration. Despite the public nature of their grief, the Spencer family remained a symbol of dignity and strength throughout the mourning period. They were not just Diana's family, they were her anchor during a time when the world seemed to crumble around her. Their loss was profound, and while their pain was shared with the world, they also worked tirelessly to protect Diana's memory and legacy. In the years that followed, the Spencer family continued to deal with the emotional aftermath of their grief, keeping alive the values that Diana had championed, including compassion, charity, and family unity. Though they were thrust into the spotlight against their will, the Spencer family's response to Diana's death reinforced the deep love and loyalty they had for her, even as they worked to preserve her legacy in the years to come. Laura Fellows, the niece of Princess Diana, was deeply affected by her aunt's tragic death in 1997. Although she had always maintained a low profile, staying out of the media spotlight, Laura's personal reflections on that fateful night reveal the profound emotional toll the loss took on her and her family. Laura's memories of the events surrounding Diana's death are filled with confusion, anger, and a sense of helplessness, emotions that would shape her perspective in the years that followed. The night Diana died, Laura was jolted awake by a phone call from her mother, Lady Jane Fellows, who was in Paris with her sister, Lady Sarah McCorquodale. The news of Diana's car crash was a shock, but it wasn't the tragedy itself that hit Laura hardest, it was the chaotic and contradictory reports that followed. The details of the crash were muddled, and the media's sensationalism left her feeling helpless and frustrated. She couldn't understand why the information was so disorganized, especially regarding her aunt's condition. The images and news reports that flooded the airwaves only fueled her anger. Here was a woman who had been loved by millions, who had been part of her family, and yet, as her life hung in the balance, the world was being bombarded with confusion and sensationalism instead of clear facts. As Diana's family rushed to Paris to bring her body home, Laura, still in London, felt the weight of being distant from the tragic events. She watched the media coverage unfold, feeling a deep sense of helplessness. The world was grieving, but it felt as though no one could really understand the private pain her family was going through. Laura's frustration grew as the days went by, and the mixed messages continued to pour out of the media. Despite the global grief that surrounded the death of her aunt, the emotional toll on the Spencer family was something the world could not fully comprehend. In the wake of Diana's death, Laura transformed her initial anger into a quiet, but determined resolve to keep her aunt's legacy alive. Her grief, while personal, became more focused on supporting William and Harry, Diana's sons. As the two young princes faced the loss of their mother, Laura, who had seen her aunt's warmth and compassion firsthand, vowed to honor those qualities by supporting them as best she could. She knew that the road ahead would be difficult for the boys, and the sense of responsibility she felt toward them grew stronger. Her commitment to her aunt's memory extended beyond just family support. It became a personal mission to ensure that Diana's humanitarian efforts and spirit lived on. Laura's reflections on that time offer a rare glimpse into the emotional toll of Diana's death on a family member who wasn't in the public eye. She had been quietly observing the events from the sidelines, but as the years passed, her feelings of grief evolved into a sense of duty. Diana had been a champion for causes like homelessness, HIV/AIDS, and children's rights, and Laura saw herself as part of the next generation that could continue to promote those same causes. Her decision to keep a low profile throughout the media frenzy in the wake of Diana's death reflected her desire to protect her own private grief, while still supporting the legacy her aunt had left behind. In the years that followed, Laura's personal reflections on her aunt's death and her growing involvement in charitable causes deepened. She began to speak more openly about her experiences, using her position as a family member to provide a more grounded and personal perspective on the events surrounding Diana's life and death. She worked to shield William and Harry from the media's overwhelming scrutiny, all while navigating the difficult space between honoring her aunt's memory and protecting her family's privacy. Laura's journey in dealing with Diana's death was one of silent strength and resilience. While she didn't seek the spotlight, she found a way to channel her grief into positive action. She quietly supported her cousins, continuing to honor her aunt's memory by keeping Diana's causes alive. As the years passed, Laura's role in preserving her aunt's legacy became clearer. Diana's death had left a deep mark on the Spencer family, but through their shared grief and determination to carry on her work, Laura found a sense of peace in knowing that the princess's spirit would never be forgotten. Through Laura's eyes, we see a personal and poignant side to the aftermath of Diana's death that the world didn't fully see. Her reflections show the profound impact of losing a family member who was also a global icon. They also reveal how grief, while deeply personal, can sometimes drive individuals to continue a loved one's work and protect their memory for future generations. The role of the paparazzi and media speculation in Princess Diana's life and death is one of the most enduring and controversial aspects of her legacy. From the moment Diana became a member of the royal family, her every move was captured by the media, who saw her as a source of endless fascination. However, as much as Diana's beauty, grace, and charitable work captivated the public, the relentless attention from the press had a darker side, one that would ultimately contribute to the tragic events of her death. Diana's relationship with the paparazzi was complex. At first, she embraced the media, understanding that her role as a member of the royal family came with a certain level of public scrutiny. She used the media to her advantage, championing causes close to her heart, such as HIV/AIDS awareness and the campaign against landmines. Her openness and willingness to connect with the public made her beloved worldwide. But over time, the same media that had once celebrated her began to turn on her. The press, always hungry for the next big story, became more invasive, capturing images of Diana in private moments, often exploiting her vulnerabilities for sensational headlines. The relentless pursuit of her every move became a source of distress, as the line between public interest and personal privacy blurred. The paparazzi, in particular, played a key role in this invasion of privacy. They followed Diana wherever she went, from her royal engagements to private moments with her sons. The photographers used aggressive tactics to get the perfect shot, often disregarding her safety in the process. They would camp outside her home, crowd her during public outings, and even chase her through the streets, all in an effort to capture intimate images. The obsession with Diana reached a fever pitch, and she became a target for photographers who saw her not as a person but as a commodity, something to be captured, sold, and consumed by the public. The impact on her mental health was profound. She often spoke of the toll the media took on her, feeling trapped by the constant attention and unable to escape from the public's gaze. This relentless media attention escalated after Diana's divorce from Prince Charles in 1996. As she was no longer the wife of the future king, the press began to focus on her personal life, her relationships, and her struggles with mental health. The media's fixation on her love life, particularly her relationship with Dodi Fayed, became a source of constant scrutiny. Diana's every move was monitored, and the press seemed to delight in capturing her in compromising or emotional moments. The more the media chased her, the more she withdrew, leading to a growing sense of isolation. Despite her deep desire for privacy, she was never able to escape the cameras. The world had come to view her not just as a royal, but as a celebrity whose life was open for public consumption. The tragic culmination of this relentless media attention came on the night of August 31st, 1997. Diana, accompanied by Dodi Fayed, was pursued by a group of paparazzi in Paris as they tried to leave the Ritz Hotel. The photographers, eager to capture images of the Princess of Wales, followed the couple at high speed through the streets of Paris. As their car sped through the Pont de l'Alma tunnel, it crashed into a pillar, killing both Dodi and the driver, Henri Paul, instantly. Diana was severely injured and later died in the hospital. The media, in their quest for the perfect shot, had indirectly played a role in the fatal accident. The paparazzi's chase was later cited as a contributing factor in the crash, with investigators revealing that the driver, Henri Paul, had been intoxicated at the time and that none of the passengers were wearing seatbelts. In the aftermath of the crash, the media's role in Diana's death was the subject of intense scrutiny. Many questioned whether the photographers who had pursued her to her death were directly responsible for the tragedy, or whether the paparazzi culture itself, which had cultivated an environment of relentless pursuit, was to blame. The public, still in shock over her death, turned their anger toward the media, calling for stricter regulations on the paparazzi and media practices. The paparazzi, who had spent years hounding Diana, now faced a backlash as the public demanded accountability for their role in her demise. At the same time, speculation about the circumstances of Diana's death quickly spread. Conspiracy theories emerged, with some suggesting that her death was not an accident but the result of foul play. Some claimed that the royal family or other powerful figures had orchestrated her death due to her increasing popularity and the personal issues surrounding her. These theories were fueled by the confusion and mixed messages that had surrounded the events leading up to the crash, including the conflicting reports about Diana's condition after the accident. Although official investigations concluded that the crash was caused by reckless driving and the paparazzi's pursuit, the speculation persisted. This only added to the media frenzy, with journalists and the public alike searching for answers that would never fully come. The role of the paparazzi and media speculation in Diana's life and death is a tragic reminder of the dangers of a celebrity-driven culture that prioritizes profit and sensationalism over privacy and respect. Diana's life was lived under the constant scrutiny of the public eye, and the consequences of that attention were devastating. Her death, a direct result of the media's pursuit, serves as a warning of the dangers of unchecked press behavior. Despite the laws and regulations that have since been put in place to protect public figures, the shadow of the paparazzi's role in Diana's life and death continues to hang over her legacy, a stark reminder of the high price of fame. The Spencer family, known for its long aristocratic history, found itself facing internal struggles and complex dynamics, especially after the tragic death of Princess Diana. While the world focused on her legacy, her family had to navigate a web of personal tensions, particularly between her siblings. Diana's older sister, Lady Sarah McCorquodale, had always been closely involved in charity work and public service, while her other sister, Lady Jane Fellows, remained more private, avoiding the limelight. Their differing approaches to public life caused occasional friction within the family, with each sibling handling Diana's legacy in their own way. Following Diana's passing, these family dynamics became even more complicated. While Sarah focused on preserving Diana's charitable work and maintaining a connection with her sons, Prince William and Prince Harry, Jane, with her more reserved nature, preferred to keep a low profile. The differing personalities and approaches to family matters sometimes created an underlying tension, with each sibling feeling the weight of the responsibility in different ways. As the years passed, these dynamics also affected their management of Althorp, the Spencer family estate, where Diana is buried. While Charles Spencer, the 9th Earl of Spencer, took a more public-facing role in managing the estate, balancing modernizing efforts with traditional values, His sisters had differing views on how much of Diana's memory should be preserved for public engagement. This internal struggle between keeping Diana's memory private and sharing it with the public created a subtle but real tension that defined the Spencer family's post-Diana years.